Hello folks, Now Quick Fly Shop here. Today I'm going to tie a really cool little tube fly using lots of different materials, marabou, dyed white peacock fibers, polymer chenille, flat braid, jungle cock, but it's going to be a simple fly. It's going to be a two-stage intruder, but not an aggressive one that's fairly quite simple. So the first stage is, of course, putting your thread on it, and what I'm using is a nano silk thread, which I really like. It's very small in diameter, super strong, and great for this type of fly, so you can really pull the material down, and it doesn't take up a whole lot of capacity. There we are. Just a little dubbing. The dubbing I'm going to use here is actually a Flashabou dubbing, and I've cut it because it's quite long. I cut it in half so I can create a fairly rigorous bump, but not too bulky. There we are. Now, put my thread out of the way. A couple of wraps, that's all. I don't want too much. I can brush it out. I'm going to brush it out actually. And I'll use a stone faux dubbing brush. I like it. It's convenient. It's handy. It works great. Can't ask for much more than that. Now I'll just lock this down. The stone faux dubbing brush, as you can see, really neat. Comb on one side, brush there. Just a little bump. Brush up, bump up. You can always cut. You can always cut the length of this to your needs afterwards. Now, I'm going to put on some holographic red, mylar. It's going to accent my flat braid. Like I said, it's a two-stage intruder. Almost single stage, but this bump on the back will be your initial stage, I guess you could call it. Now I'll bring my thread forward and we'll lock in my flat braid. In this case I'm using a pinkish flat braid. It's pearl pink, and I'll go opposite to my typical right to left. I'm going to go left to right wrap here. And then my mylar, I'll go right to left. It'll just help secure that. I don't think it's going to come undone. And I use a lot of super glue on my flies, folks. So have your super glue always handy, especially when you're tying in so many different materials. There's that. Secure that. That's what I like about this nano silk. It's so strong. And now I'm going to come back and over with my candy cane stripes on my flat braid. And again, I'm not too exact, don't need to be exact. Some people think you have to be this and that. Well, you don't really. You just want that fly to get attention. It has to be balanced. Balance is key. Now, right here, I'm going to put some super glue. Pull that down just in case it runs into this thing. I don't want to run into my bobbin. Yes, I'm using a stone faux bobbin as well. I really like these nice bobbins. There. Now I'm going to do another dubbing loop here. I'm going to be using some purple ice dubbing. Not a lot. I just need a little bump right in here. This is going to hold out my marabou. There we go. Again, don't have to be too fussy. It's a fishing fly. There we are. 1, 2. So this bump here, this is what's going to hold out my marabou and my peacock. Will also lock this in quite rigorously. You can do that with the nano silk for sure. There it goes. Just a nice little bump. Now I'm going to be using on here, there we are, Cerise Marabou. This is a small strand. And what I'm going to do is I always take this fluff off of here. Now a lot of people will tie marabou in from the tip. I don't like tying it in from the tip. I prefer tying it in from the base stem. I don't need a lot of, when you tie it in from the tip, you seem to get a lot of matting going on, and I don't like that. So if you tie it in from the stem and use a hackle plier, you can really just create a couple of really nice wraps and not take up a lot of space. Down the vein, there we are. Look at that. Now always be prepared with your wet fingers to pull this fiber back. There you go, folks. That's all you need. You don't need 4 or 5 wraps of this because it'll just mat up on you. There we are. There we are. Now you can break it with your hand, or I use a scissor blade and I just push. So I'm not cutting any of the fibers. Take my fingers, pull them back. There. Lovely, 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 lovely. Now I'm going to put a little super glue here. That is pretty nice all the way through. See how you can see the body through there? I'll brush that for you just so you see that. See that? Pretty nice. No super glue here. Pull that down. I don't want that thing getting all fuzzed up. There we are. You can also let the super glue run down your thread. I'm just a bit lazy for that. Give it a second or two. There. Now I'm going to put in a material that very few people use. And those of us that know use it a lot. This is actually dyed white peacock, and I've dyed it a fuchsia color. And the strands are extremely nice. So I'm going to put in 8 strands likely, and I'll start and I'll quarter them. There's 2. There we are. And I'll do 2 more. Pick them off either side, doesn't matter much. 1, 2. This is a poor man's rhea. You can't palmer it like you can with rhea, but it does the same job, and it's really nice. I really like it. I really like what it does. I caught a really nice steelhead a few years ago on one of these flies, and boy, oh boy, it was just so sexy in the water. The steelhead thought so too. Yeah, I use just 2 strands per wrap. There we are. You want them to be the same length. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are, right there. No, there it is. You can put more in. This does not add weight to the fly. Basically not. There. And again, you want your super glue real close by. The vise I'm using is the Catrelli shuttle vise. Love these jaws. These are amazing jaws. Look at that. Now if I want to force those fibers down, I'm just going to take my thread and I'm going to lock them back a little tiny bit further back onto the marabou. There. So next I'm going to lay in the jungle cock. I've prepared the jungle cock. Whoop. I've prepared it. So you can see I've stripped off a lot of the feathers from the side. I like doing that so that I leave a little bit of the fluff here so it'll actually pull the fiber, it'll pull the eye right and tight to the material, like so. And then, there you go. That one laid in very, very nice. Be very careful when you cut that stem, because sometimes that stem will twist the eye. Here we go, here. You can see how I'm going to lie that in, and I'm going to lock in those little feathers right there. How's that? That is pretty special. Really, really nice. I can trim all the excess off after. Super glue. I want my super glue here. So now what I need to do, step by step, is actually lock that down. There. Now I'm going to put on some polymer chenille and then a cone. Now polymer chenille. What I'm using is a small dark blue polymer chenille. Why the dark blue? Well, it simply is more about the flash than it is about anything else. I also want to cover up that thread in the front, right here. And then when my cone pushes back, I want my cone to marry up to the material real closely. There. Lock that down. Make sure I don't screw up that jungle cock eye. And make sure my materials are going the right way. There we go. Turn it this way. There. One. Pull it back with my fingers like I do with all my materials. Just pull it back. Pull it back. So this just fills up that void that's left. Now this cone I'm using is a standard size cone. It's a tungsten, but it doesn't have a big cup on it, so I can't grab too much material. Now I put a little whip finish here, get my super glue ready. Now folks, this is a very, very nice fly. There we are. Now the cone. Like I said, this is a standard cone, standard size hole. So the tube I'm using is the correct size in there. Now I'll just cut that, leave about 3 millimeters, or for those that don't use metric, 1/8 of an inch of plastic from the cone or from the tube and melt it. Use the blue side. There it is. And folks, there is one really, really nice steelhead fly. I hope you enjoyed it, folks. It's nice to be back tying flies again. Thanks for watching, and keep watching. We'll have more and more of these as the time goes on. Thank you.